Hi, I'm Bill Pinion and welcome to Ann Arbor Arms. We know you're getting ready to go out on the range, but before you do, there's a couple safety rules we want to go over. Our first rule is always keep the firearm pointed in a safe direction. The second rule is only point your firearm in the direction of your assigned target. Our third rule is always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. And our fourth rule is when not in use, keep the firearm completely unloaded until you're ready to use it. Make sure the action is open whenever it's on the bench, ensure there's nothing in the magazine, and the magazine is out of the firearm, and that there's nothing in the chamber or the cylinder. If you're renting a firearm from us and you're not familiar with it, or if you're not familiar with your own firearm, please ask for help, and our range safety officers will be happy to give assistance. A complete list of Ann Arbor Arms range rules are posted by the check-in counter. Be sure to read them thoroughly, and if you have questions, ask any of our staff. It's easier here to get answers than in a noisy range. Anyone present on the range is required to wear both eye and ear protection. And especially for children, we recommend both ear plugs and ear muffs. Once you've completed the check-in process, the service desk or the range safety officer will assign you to a shooting lane.
When I approach the firing line, the first thing that I want to verify is the orientation of my muzzle, ensuring that my weapon is pointed downrange. At this time, the weapon is not pointed downrange, so I'm going to take a moment and orientate my bag again so that my muzzle now is pointed downrange. When removing the pistol from the bag, you want to ensure that the muzzle is going to maintain pointing downrange with your finger off the trigger. Next, you're going to clear the weapon by ejecting your magazine, locking your slide to the rear, looking down the chamber, ensuring that the chamber is clear, and looking into your magazine well to make sure that that is clear. Next, you're going to place your weapon down with the muzzle pointed downrange with the slide or action open, showing the range safety officer that the chamber is clear and that the magazine is out of your weapon.
So Bobby showed you how to make a semi-automatic pistol safe. And now I'm going to show you the same thing with a revolver. First, make sure that it's pointed in a safe direction. In this case, downrange. I'll take it out of the case. My finger is off the trigger. I'll press the cylinder release and open the cylinder and check to make sure there are no rounds in it. And then I'll place it on the bench with the muzzle facing downrange. And we're ready. One thing to remember is, when your target is back and you're checking it, we always want the gun to be just like this, empty and pointing downrange. This is also true when you're changing targets, changing shooters, and when you're loading magazines. The rule is, never leave a loaded gun sitting on the bench by itself.
At no time should anyone go past the firing line. The target retriever itself takes the target up and back for you. When hanging your targets, remember to keep the center of the bullseye in line with the muzzle of your firearm when your arms are extended. The reason being is if your target is too high, you're going to be shooting up into the ceiling. If it's too low, you're going to be shooting off into the floor. And if it's on either side, you might be hitting your neighbor's targets, which they might not appreciate. When you want to take a pause in between your shooting, take your finger off the trigger, firearm pointed downrange, and simply rest your elbows on your rib cage. When reloading your firearm, remember to keep your firearm pointed directly downrange, which means parallel to the floors and parallel to the walls. One of the most fun things about coming to the range is bringing your friends along. But before my friend and I switch spots, we're going to make sure that the weapon is clear, action open, so that the range safety officer can see that the weapon is clear, and the magazine removed, with the muzzle pointed downrange. Next, I'm simply going to take a step out of the shooting lane and let my friend take over. Cease fire! When you hear a ceasefire, immediately take your finger off the trigger, bringing your elbows down to your side while keeping your muzzle pointed downrange, and then wait for instructions from a range safety officer. In this case, I called the ceasefire, but remember, everyone on the range is a safety officer. So if you see something, anything dangerous that you feel uncomfortable with, call a ceasefire. Your range safety officer will take it from there.
Here are a few more important tips to help ensure you have a safe and enjoyable time at Ann Arbor Arms. Always walk around someone else's equipment, never step over it, and never leave your equipment where others have to walk around it. Never touch someone else's equipment without their permission. And don't let your ejected casings hit your neighbor. In fact, introduce yourself to your neighbors. The people shooting next to you may become your next shooting partner. Remember our 4 safety rules. Always keep your firearm pointed in a safe direction. Only point your firearm in the direction of your assigned target. Keep your finger off of the trigger until you're ready to shoot. And always keep the firearm unloaded until you're ready to use it. Make sure your action is open whenever it's on the bench, and there is never a loaded firearm sitting on the bench by itself. We hope you take firearm safety as seriously as we do. And when you're on the range, remember, firearm safety depends on you. If in doubt, ask our range safety officers. They'll be happy to lend a hand. I want to welcome you to Ann Arbor Arms and hope you have a great time.